Welcome to Meta Advertising Blueprint 2025. So this is the yearly program that I do to help you understand what happened last year so that we can actually plan ahead in the following year. It's really important for us to stay updated with all the changes because it impacts our result. You have to remember when it comes to meta advertising, we put money into it. We need to make sure that we make the most out of the ads dollar that we are spending in meta advertising. And a lot of us are spending big. Like last year alone, I actually oversaw and managed over 2 million US dollar in meta ad spend for all my clients combined. So it's a great learning, to be frank. And we have a lot of things to look into because a lot of things change, especially in terms of perspective of data, attribution, AI, and all that. So the whole idea is really to stay ahead of the competition and it's to stay ahead of the curve to understand what changed and so that we can align our strategy. Remember, you can't be using the same old way to run ads anymore, especially when it comes to meta advertising, which is something that changes constantly all the time. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to talk about is let's talk about the most impactful meta advertising changes happened in the last 1 year so that we can, realign our strategy to make sure that we take full advantage of all the changes that happen. So one of the biggest challenge when it comes to meta advertising is data attribution. You see, like if you run ads, especially in e-commerce, you know that all the ROAS and all, it's not 100% accurate. And one of the biggest problem about Meta is they're always doing this closed wall policy whereby they do not connect with external attribution tools or analytical tools to help users like us to understand. And even some of the tools out there, they claim to help you do the attribution. First, they're expensive. Second thing is it's very difficult to set up. That's another thing because Meta make it so difficult, right? And on top of that, it's not really that accurate as well. So one of the biggest changes that Meta implemented in 2024, which is now in a way still rolling out to most of the ad accounts at the moment. Most of my clients do not have it yet, but it's already something that is on the way. So Meta aims to improve data attribution with a lot of important changes that came to Meta, the Meta advertising platform, which I think you need to know. So the first thing that I really like, I mean, this is one of the things that I like the most when it comes to the changes, the Meta advertising, which is they are now allowing third-party analytics integration right now. So if you have Google Analytics, which we know, despite all the cookies change and all that, Google Analytics is one of the best solution and free, for us to really track conversion in the higher level, and they are very accurate, especially when it comes to attribution and all that. So Meta is allowing direct integration with Google Analytics right now. So if you do have this, all you need to do is you go into the Meta Events Manager, and on the left sidebar, you look for partner integration. You should be able to find it. Just try to go in and search for Google Analytics. If you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, which is fine, we just need to wait for the thing to roll out. So when this thing happens, what we can really foresee that, is that the attribution would get better because now they're actually using a backup data, which is a lot more reliable to actually help us attribute the conversion and everything to the campaign or to the ad itself that really brought in the conversion itself. So that would help us really optimize the campaign a lot better with full data, hopefully. And it would actually in turn help the next key changes, which is also something that is quite ambitious. I'm not 100% sure how this would actually work out, but based on my research, right, it actually improves the conversion as in like the ROAS. So what Meta has rolled out last year, which is now still rolling out to some of the ad accounts, to most of the ad accounts, but I do have some of my clients do have this option already, but they are not seeing the full features of it, which is now Meta roll out and new optimization option, which is called the conversion value rules. So theoretically, according to Meta, what does that mean? You can actually now dictate Meta and tell Meta which are the, it could be age group, it could be gender, it could be location, which are the key audiences that bring you higher conversion value. So for example, if you're in e-commerce, you can tell Meta in the campaign itself, without needing to create multiple campaigns and multiple ad sets, in the ad set settings, you need to set up manual settings. The ad set settings, you can actually optimize for conversion value to the highest conversion value, which is what's difference. Instead of getting, I mean, the normal, let's say if you go for sales and if you use the manual setup, usually the normal conversion optimization is the maximum number of conversion, right? But now you can actually optimize for maximum conversion value, which is theoretically, it is about bringing in customers that are more likely to spend more. You get what I mean? So that theoretically, and it would actually improve the overall conversion and especially the ROAS of your campaign because Meta now knows who are the people who are likely to purchase more. So they zoom in a lot more into this group of people. That will really help us optimize the campaign in a very, very different way. But provided the data and the attribution has to be good. That's why they actually roll out the third-party analytics integration first, which is very interrelated over here. And then once this is done, right? Okay, basically, with all this accurate data attribution, the more precise the audience targeting is going to get as well. Meaning, what does it mean? You see, when it comes to meta advertising, a lot of people still have a lot of so-called debate about the audience targeting and all. But to be frank, all this audience targeting and all is really about how accurate data. I mean, Meta is able to gather the right data about the behavior of people. Because when it comes to meta advertising, in my opinion, the hardest thing to control is the user behavior shift. For example, when it comes to Black Friday, some brands are seeing good results, some brands are not, actually not because of your promotion and the ads, it's about the behavior. Because to be frank, we have limited resources when it comes to Black Friday. People tend to buy things that are more in terms of like they prioritize. So if you are actually kind of like a non-essential products, you may not do that well. So it's very important for us to plan ahead. But having said that, that's another topic. But over here, it's really, the accuracy of the data really help Meta understand the audience, and in turn, they are able to bring us better audience right now. Which brings us to another important thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Meta ads changes, which is, in my opinion, Meta advertising is now intent-based. You see, we spend a lot of time, and many years in the past we have been talking about the detailed targeting, going broad or not, and all that. So, but what really matters is we want to find people who are likely to take action, and that is something that Meta is really good at, and they have been rolling out these things. So how do we talk about how do we understand this? Meta advertising is now intent-based. Understand this sentence. The more Meta algorithm understand your advertisement, which is about what you're selling, the more precise your audience targeting becomes. Okay, now take a moment to think about this. When you visit a product, let's say you go to the website, you know that for a fact that the next thing is, of course, the brand is going to retarget you, but other brands that sells the same thing, their advertisement would come to you as well. Why is this happening? It's because Meta understand what they sell, and because they know that you are actually looking for this product, your purchase intent is high, especially if you go to the extent of adding to cart, initial checkout, and all that. All these are very important action that Meta determine as high value. They will start showing advertisement of the competitors to you, which is, in a way, according to their claim, they want to provide you more choices. But we understand it's actually kind of like maybe hurting the original brand that visited. But think about this from the other perspective over here. It actually solves the biggest problem that we have been looking at, which is how do we find the best audience for our advertisement? So, the answer is actually here, which is the most effective tool for audience targeting is actually the advertisement itself. So what we have been testing, and it's true throughout the last 1 year in 2024 itself, which is the clearer we actually tell what are we selling, whether it's service or product in the ad itself, okay, the better the performance gets. Like, for example, I have a bunch of clients that sells, because I work with an agency, they sell, what do we call a power tool. So when they do power tool, you have to really define a power tool. So when we do advertisement that are more like UGC or clickbaity kind of ads and all that, it tend not to perform that well because we actually brought in the wrong audience, because Meta is confused about what we do, what we sell. So in turn, they get us kind of like a mixed audience, which may not really help in terms of helping the overall performance. So it's really about trying to distill down try to get the message across as soon as possible. So in a way, Another update that I probably want to share with you here is, which is generally throughout the 2025, I'm not saying that all my clients are doing better with single images now, but a very big percentage of my clients actually are doing a lot better with single images because people tend, I mean, yet again, this is about a behavior shift. People tend to get bored with long form video, even it's like 10 seconds thing, but I may not want to spend time with you, especially you're an ad. You remember when you're an ad, you are actually interrupting the feed. You are actually, because you're invading their feed, right? So it's really about whether they want to connect with you or not. So basically, single images that gets the message across tend to perform better. Why? Because the audience don't need to really spend time with you. You just need to take one glance and they will decide whether I'm interested in this or not, whether they want to take the next action or not. So it becomes very easy. And because of all this interaction that is, like getting better and better, because when you do single images, okay, people get the message right away and they will decide. And because they get a message right away, only the intended audience would actually proceed to the next step. And when you do that, your conversion that goes down the road actually gets better and better, meaning you have better add to cart, better initial checkout and stuff. So the whole thing actually get better. So that's the whole idea of why the advertisement itself plays such a very significant role when it comes to audience targeting, because that helps Meta understand what you do. And basically, as they do, and they get better and better in understanding when more people are coming in, the whole thing gets better and better. The campaign gets better and better. So, like I was surprised, but then that's really the key. The advertisement itself plays significant role. So if you have been doing videos, try to look for other options, such as try single images if you can. And if you're doing single images, try to look into the optimization, as in like probably rearrange the thing that gets better CTR and all that. So these are all the things that you want to look into and pay attention to right now. So basically make sure the whole idea is to make sure your Meta Pixel and conversion API are set up properly. That's really the key, because especially if you're in e-commerce, even if you're lead gen as well, you can actually attribute value to your leads that you're generating. But then again, that's another process. But if you're in e-commerce especially, the conversion API and Meta Pixel has to be set up, and both of them has to be there. Some people ask me the question whether should I actually opt for one or another. I would say both of them are really important. Next, well, last year I wouldn't have approved this as in 2023, right? But since second half of 2024, if I recall correctly, Advantage Plus shopping campaign is really working. I think it's probably because over the years, I think this was launched about like 2 to 3 years ago. I think, and over time, Meta has been working to improve their attribution and all that, because over the years, since the iOS 14.5 issues and all that, aggregated event management is lifted, and a lot of those so-called the techniques or the steps that they took to kind of like gain back the insights has been taken off, meaning in a way, I think Meta is getting back into the full data scene right now. That's why the domain verification is no longer needed and all that. So it's actually a good thing for us. So even though now we talk about the cookies issues, that we may not get the full picture and all that, but I think Meta's technology has been evolving to help us gain better numbers or better insights into the numbers. And like since second half of 2024, I tested with a few clients using Advantage Plus shopping campaign. I mean, when it comes to Advantage Plus shopping campaign, you know the drill, right? You sort of give up everything, as in like the control. So you're like giving Meta the full authority to really drill in and find you the best audience who are more likely to convert, which all you need to do is just to put up the location, the budget, and the creative, and then just let Meta do its job in terms of optimization, in terms of audience placement and the creative as well. So basically, it has been working, but provided on a few things. Okay, so Advantage Plus shopping campaign is working right now, because combining the two key changes earlier that I mentioned just now, right? The advantage, I mean, the attribution and all the things that we have been talking about just now since the very beginning of the program, which is about the data attribution. But having said that, you have to tolerate higher CPM. That's why I would not say that the manual campaign setup is dead, because based on my observation, the manual campaign setup seems to still get us lower CPM, but the result varies. It may not be as good as previous. So I would like to actually encourage you to actually put to test. So if you have not tried Advantage Plus shopping campaign before, I would recommend to do this, okay? Take the top creative that has been performing well from your manual setup campaign and implement them into your Advantage Plus campaign one ad at a time. So I would actually recommend to start with single ad campaign, meaning Advantage Plus, one ad only. You only put in the best ad, but then just let the system take full advantage of the algorithm learning and all that, the AI, whatever mechanism at the back to help you get better results. So tolerate higher CPM. Even most of my clients are still seeing higher CPM because all the cost comes up from the CPM level, right? But having said that, if it works to your benefit, you should see better OS, better conversion, because theoretically, what I'm actually, suggesting here is, I think Advantage Plus shopping campaign, is helping us to find a better audience. So even though it's more expensive, we don't mind. Now, another thing that I really like to stress here, which is the retargeting campaign is still needed. Because based on my observation, the frequency doesn't go up really high. So eventually, Advantage Plus shopping campaign theoretically still serves really well as a top of funnel campaign. But although we know that Advantage Plus shopping campaign does do certain job in terms of like retargeting, because based on what we understand, it has better retargeting mechanism according to where they are. Like if you add to cart, you see a different retargeting coming from Advantage Plus. If you actually try to initiate checkout, you see a sort of like a different layer based on your purchase intent. But having said that, based on my observation, I think retargeting campaign is still needed because especially when it comes to, like fast moving products, like for example, if you're selling something that is not a necessity, you really want them to take action whenever it's hot, I think the retargeting campaign would actually still help us push in terms of the frequency. Yeah, let's say like a lot of my clients, they are seeing a really good conversion if we are retargeting people who recently visited our website in the 7 or 14 days up to. And we will always try to push for frequency. 5 is ideal, in fact. But anything between 3 to 5 is actually sort of the range that we will want to go for. But certain client may go up to 8. It really depends on the product that you're selling. So retargeting campaign is still needed. So this is what I would actually talk about, the Advantage Plus shopping campaign. And like I say, just put to test and see how it works out for your campaign. Okay, now then let's talk about other impactful changes. There are a few of them that noteworthy that I really want to highlight to you. The first one is really the site links. When you set up the ad, because now the whole ad setup process is different. We would actually cover that in the Ads Manager walkthrough module down the road. But site links becomes a very interesting addition to that. So site links, how do we usually use site links? Site link actually appears beneath your ad. Let's say if you have a single image ad, right? Down there, Facebook will start showing certain extra buttons, okay, which is actually beneficial because it gives more, actually, yeah, in a way, real estate for your ad, meaning your ad covers the biggest space of the, Meta feed and Facebook feed or Instagram feed. So it gives you a better visibility, but we need to do it correctly. So based on what I experimented, I think you can actually try to put in buttons like, on sale, new arrival, okay, for example, free shipping, or maybe to highlight certain key products that are also beneficial for your audience to know alongside with the ad that with the product that you are promoting. So site links become a very interesting addition, but you need to have a thumbnail to that. So I would recommend to go square, usually a 300 to 3x300. That's what Meta is suggesting, but you can always go square like 800. So yeah, the site links is actually quite interesting. So go up to 4 site links. I think now Meta is showing 3, but I think you're allowed to go up to 4 based on the latest rollout. But it really depends on which version you're having right now. So site links can be a very interesting addition to make your ad look more appealing. Now, the next one is dynamic content placement gets better with AI. Now, when it comes to content placement, meaning actually Meta is doing better job in terms of tailoring your ad into different formats, as in like, how it looks like on the Instagram feed, how it looks like on the stories and all that. So it's actually the layout is getting better and better. So you may not really need to do so much in terms of like multiple dimension. But of course, if you have the resources, I would still recommend you to do. And another thing that I actually tried here is the AI content development, which is like, let's say you upload an image of a backyard. Okay. Meta actually is able to give you I think up to 10 or even more images that looks like your original image to give you a different variation of ad for free. So that's a very interesting experiment that I recently tested with one of my clients, and it's actually working pretty well. So yeah, the AI part is really playing a very significant role in terms of helping advertisers to excel, because one of the biggest problem of a lot of small advertisers, as in like, you don't have the resources to in a way hire people to do proper design and all that. But now with AI, with the help of so-called Meta AI, you can actually create content very easily. I actually just did that. Later I will show you when we walk through the ads manager setup. So basically it's something that you have to really take advantage on. And the other one is, of course, if you have been doing this, once you put in a primary text, the AI will give you like, I don't know, 5, 7, I don't know, and they make sense. A lot of times, most of the time, in fact, they're actually pretty good. So this is really something that you can take advantage on, because the whole idea here is, in my opinion, how should we use AI is to use AI to reduce production time, as in like, you know, you don't really need to spend that much time writing. You can just give them your idea. And like, I actually do that sometime right now. I mean, yeah, I mean, I just let AI do certain part, and then you do your final tuning and all that. So that makes you save a lot of time. So that's what I always look at, how AI can help us improve our workflow. Okay. Then, yeah, this is something quite normal, but it's really coming to a few places right now. But new ad placement is rolling out on Instagram, and rumor says we're gonna have ads in Thread. Thread is, although it's not as good as Twitter as it wants to rival, but to be frank, it is gaining some momentum in certain countries, and the users are very sticky. So it's a very new and interesting, I would say, platform to test to see whether these audience are more likely to engage with the ad. But the whole idea here is, I do believe combining Facebook, Instagram, Thread events at the moment, I think the audience comparatively compared to other platforms like TikTok especially, I think the audience on Meta platforms are a lot more likely to purchase and engage with the ad in a more meaningful level. I think in a lot of ways, they are more ready, they are more ad ready. It's either they are more savvy or they are more like it's really there, because I have a lot of clients reported back to me saying that when they run ads on TikTok, sometimes they even get scolded because people do not expect to see a lot of ads. They are there to be entertained, but audiences on Meta platforms are there to gain insights, to learn, to interact, and even to purchase. So that's a very interesting direction, I would say, for you to start planning. Let's say if you're still considering distributing, how do you distribute your budget on in between TikTok or Meta platforms? I think you can actually really observe based on the past 1 year, especially past 1 year has been volatile, to be frank. 2024 is a very interesting year. A lot of things change, ads manager change, business portfolio change, and stuff like that. But then again, the most significant change I observe from is really among the users. The behavior shift is actually very, I would say, unpredictable. So that's really something that you need to start paying attention, and hopefully that would help you gain better insights in terms of how do you want to distribute your budget. But here, based on up to now, these are the impactful changes that I observe on Meta platforms that I believe every one of us as a Meta advertisers must take note to really take advantage and plan ahead for 2025.